I love Taylor Swift. This is nothing new. It has been a long day, but I have a bit of time to film right now, so we're gonna get this done now. I'm exhausted, so excuse all of this. Let's just get into it. Midnights is incredible. I love it. I know some people don't like it. I don't care. I think it's great. I listened to the album like the minute it came out, and then I listened to it again straight away, but thinking about the characters of my NaNoWriMo project. And then I listened to it again, thinking about other books, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. This is book recommendations based on Midnights. I do want to say though, I apparently don't read. I've read 41 books this year and more than half of them have been rereads, so I don't have the most recommendations out there, but there are certain songs from this album that made me think of certain books, so I did want to talk about that. But a lot of these series are old, a lot of these books have been around for a long time, so if you're looking for new recommendations, you're probably not going to get them. There are also a few songs that I don't have recommendations for. Maybe by the time I go to post this I'll have them, but I doubt it, so they might just be on screen. We might just skip a couple songs. It's okay, we're doing what we can. First up, we have Lavender Haze, and for this song, I have chosen Heartstopper. This is the show cover, apparently. That's the one I grabbed off my shelf. Okay. To me, Lavender Haze is just about like wanting to be with someone, being so in love with someone, and this book is about like that cute first stage of a relationship, and so it just feels right. Also, the fact that it's about kind of keeping all of that private, and in this volume at least, it is private. So yes. So scarlet it was. Next up is the song Maroon. This is my favourite song on the album, and so it's just fitting that I've picked one of my favourite series, The Dark Artificers. I am in particular thinking about some stuff that happens in the third book of this series, but I'm not going to spoil that because I don't want to spoil it. But the line that stood out to me for this recommendation is, "Carnations you had thought were roses, that's us." To me, that line kind of symbolizes the idea that like one person thought it was friendship, the others thought it was more, kind of thing. Which really makes me think of a particular scene in the last book of this series. It's been years and I'm still thinking about it, but I do think that there are a lot of little connections to the song in the books. So yes, read this series. It must be exhausting, always rooting for the anti-hero. The next song is Anti-Hero, which is one of the first songs that I thought about for this video because there are so many characters that fit this song. But for the sake of this video, I have chosen The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I love this series, and Monty, the main character, is the anti-hero. He hates himself and he is self-destructive, and the song fits him perfectly. Also, this book is just a lot of fun, so I highly recommend it. I'm in a really weird mood right now. I'm so sorry that this is so messy. Like snow on the beach. The next recommendation is a bad one. The next song is Snow on the Beach, and my recommendation is a book that I read a few years ago and honestly don't remember much about, and that is How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake, which I only realized was by that author as I was preparing for this video. I had no idea that it was the same author as Delilah Green Doesn't Care, so now I'm more likely to read Delilah Green. Anyway, this book, I don't remember much about this book. I do remember it being on a beach at some point, but the general like feeling is what I remember, and so it fits. I might be totally wrong, but we're going with it. You're on your own, kid. You always have been. Next, we have You're on Your Own, Kid. And this song hurts me just like this book did. Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Oh my god. I think that a character like Aled needs the song You're on Your Own, Kid. There is one scene in particular in this book that it reminds me of, but in general, Aled's relationship with his family feels very right for this recommendation. So yes. I am going through these pretty quickly just because there are so many, and honestly, I'm in a very, very weird place mentally right now. This entire video is mainly because of 2 songs that are like at the end of the album, so like we'll get there. He was sunshine, I was midnight. Next up is Midnight Rain, and for that I have chosen Daisy Jones and the Six. I haven't actually read this book. I started it years ago and got that far in and stopped. But the line that made me choose this was, I was making my own name, chasing that fame. Feels about right from what I know of this book, so. Can I ask you a question? The next song is Question, and for that I have chosen One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This song feels sapphic to me. I don't know how else to explain that. Hence the recommendation. I want to make it clear, I'm not making any assumptions about what the song's actually about. This is just an opinion, so don't be angry about it, please. But this book was a lot of fun and is what came to mind for this song. Some of these recommendations don't have many connections other than vibes. Best believe I'm still bejeweled when I walk in the room. The next song is Bejeweled, and for that I have chosen Geekerella by Ashley Poston. The instant connection for me was the Cinderella kind of connection from the music video and from the book. But there are also a lot of little lines. There is a scene in the book that made me think of it a lot, but it is like a little spoilery, so I'm not going to talk about it. But yes, I love this book. No one talks about this book. I love this book. The whole series is so fun. Lost in the Labyrinth. Next up is Labyrinth, and the only book that feels right to choose here is Percy Jackson. The whole series, but we're holding up the first one. It's shiny. The immediate connection was like the Labyrinth, like the Minotaur, obvious kind of mythology kind of vibes, but also when you listen to the song, it makes me think of Percy and Annabeth, and I love them a lot. I'm rereading this at the moment. I'm up to Titan's Curse, so exciting. I found myself running onto your Sweet Nothing. The next song is Sweet Nothing, and for that I have chosen A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Namey. To me, this song is just about like a very sweet romance, and this book definitely has one of those. I love them. But also the line, "You're in the kitchen humming," because the main character spends like half the book in a kitchen. It's great. I love this book. It's surprisingly one of the things I've read this year that just has been in my head a lot. What if I told you I'm a mastermind? Next up is Mastermind, and for that I have chosen the Infernal Devices series. I can't even talk about why, because it's a spoiler, first of all, and also it's not actually like what happens in the book. It's like my own opinion of what happens. So I'm gonna hold up the book and talk about the spoiler. If you don't want to hear it, mute the screen until I put the book down. So my whole idea here is that Tessa is a mastermind for getting a lifetime with Will, and now, you know, later, a lifetime with Jem. That's my whole thing here. I'm like, yes, mastermind. I know she didn't do that intentionally, but in my head, perfect. Also, I guess it does fit the Magister. He was planning like way ahead, so I guess he's the mastermind also. But yes, I just, in my head I was like, yeah, if Tessa planned it, it went incredibly. I know she didn't, but still. We survived the Great War. Now, we are finally up to the song that started it all. We are up to the 3 AM tracks. The Great War. Instantly, on first listen, at the very beginning of the song, reminded me of The Hunger Games. It's no secret, I am a very huge fan of the Hunger Games. It's where everything started for me. It's why I started reading. It's how I became a fan of Taylor Swift. That happened like around the same time. It was all very intense, and my entire personality for a long time was the Hunger Games and Taylor Swift, so this is fitting. I honestly have a whole other video planned about Taylor Swift writing songs about the Hunger Games. It's a whole thing. But this entire song screams the Hunger Games. I'm not gonna say any specific lyrics because it's like all of them. There are a lot of songs on this album that I wanted to choose the Hunger Games for, but it had to be The Great War. I love the Hunger Games. I could talk about it for like ever. You were bigger than the whole sky. Next up is Bigger Than the Whole Sky, and I have chosen The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm not going to talk about why, because I don't know the series well enough to explain it properly, and also spoilers. There is just like a certain character's story that made me think of this song. So yeah, it's kind of sad. Like honestly, kind of a bummer. So we're gonna move on. Like we were in Paris. And now we're up to the second book that made me want to do this video, because of course it does. Every time I listen to this song, if I'm near anyone, I'm like, oh my god, this song makes me think of this book. The song is Paris and the book is Red, White and Royal Blue. I could talk about this for hours. There are specific parts of the song, but also the entire song. The general idea of keeping a romance private and getting to enjoy it without any prying eyes, very relevant to this book. But the line that really sold me was stumble down pretend alleyways. And the reason is because of the part when they're in the V&A and they are basically in a fake piazza and they like have a moment and I'm like, that, yes. Like, yes, they do also go to Paris and that's cool, but also the whole song is so Alex and Henry coded. I love it. High Infidelity. Next up is High Infidelity, and for that I have chosen the Last Hours series, specifically Chain of Iron, because I did just finish reading it and oh my god. I don't know if it counts as spoilers, but I am going to say the characters that I'm thinking of. So to me, High Infidelity is very much like Cordelia, James and Grace. If you know, you know. Especially right at the end of Chain of Iron, like that part, you know, that part, yeah. I read Chain of Iron like as soon as it came out and it didn't affect me. I just like was not that interested. This reread, life-changing. I am so in love with these characters. So I don't really have any recommendations for the rest of the songs because I'm tired. I'm just so tired. I feel so weird right now. I'm not doing great. But yes, I was never going to give a recommendation for Dear Rita just because I felt like it was a nice place to end, of being like, ah, like Rita, whoo. Okay, I'm gonna go because clearly I need to go lie down or something. It's been a long day. I love Taylor Swift. I love books. Literally, I had a fan account like back in the day. It was literally called Books Swift. Come on. This is my whole personality and has been for like a decade. But yes, I guess I will go. I'm sorry for how chaotic this video has been. I feel weird. You feel weird. We're all a little bit weird. Am I about to have a breakdown? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe. I upload twice a week. My social media is all below. I'm trying to remember if I've said everything I need to. Sure, let's go with it. I'm gonna go before I lose my mind even more. So yeah, bye. I need to hold up books for a picture. Ha ha ha. Oh god. Ooh, should I do spines out or spines in? Ugh. God, it's heavy. Why didn't I plan ahead? Why didn't I plan ahead? Oh my god.